r/the10thDentist. It's Demon says. I sincerely believe sexual offenders should be sentenced to jail for life. I feel like most other crimes have scenarios in which they can be justified. Someone might steal to survive, or might kill in self-defense, but sex crimes have no explainable reason or justification other than to pleasure the offender. Not only that, they also have a higher recidivism rate, and are likely to have assaulted multiple people. It's absolutely insane to me that over 50% of offenders convicted for using a drug have over 10 years in jail, but people like infamous rapist Brock Turner get to walk freely after just 6 months. Not to mention CSA, anyone who sexually assaulted a child isn't fit to participate in society. It's totally wild that I can Google multiple rapists living near me, and all of these people walk freely and live a normal life. I think for most sex crimes, even some misdemeanors, people should get jail for life. They're a threat to others and shouldn't be reintegrated in society, with little to no exceptions. Nickred says. Will this incentivize murder? Minute Isopod 2157 says. A lot of rapists/serial killers took their first kill because they didn't want to get charged with rape again. So yeah, statistically speaking it's fairly likely. OK Effective 1689 says. Yes it will. Y53RW says. Just responding to your first paragraph, we don't judge people for crimes based on alternative scenarios in which the act they committed could have been justified. We judge people for crimes based on the scenario in which they were actually committed, at least, we should. Gobble the Anus says. Then rape and sexual assault should be pretty clear. Life in prison. Help Philippeal 1905 says. Would they not just kill their victims then, to lessen their chance of getting caught if the punishment is life in prison either way? r/the10thDentist. Quinn Thomas says. I keep my TV volume set to prime numbers. I've noticed that people tend to fall into 3 camps. They want the volume to be an even number. B. They want it to be a multiple of 5. Or C. They don't care about the number on the volume setting. I keep my TV volume on prime numbers. This pisses people off. I don't do it to be contrarian or annoying, but people always tell me to be normal and change to camps A or B. I argue that my compulsion to set it to a prime is just as valid as to an even number or multiple of 5, but am overwhelmingly shot down. Y8 Man says. Nah, some prime numbers feel cool. I wouldn't mind 11 or 13, but 17 is a no-go. Then again, those numbers are low for volume, so I don't know how high you aim for. Humans are weird like that. Quinn Thomas says. 17 and 13 are perfect for video games on my soundbar, 11 if my roommate is sleeping, 23 or 29 if I'm home alone, 41 if we're bumping music with friends. It's a whole thing. Classy Mouse says. Nah, some prime numbers feel cool too, and 5 for example. Electronic Boot 9466 says. Same. Although, at a certain point, the distance between prime numbers is too high, and so it's just numbers not divisible by 2, 3, 5, or 11. Vedani says. I'm in the C camp, fascinated that there's a whole thread about this, upvoted. Pepegapis says. I set it to a number that averages to 5, like 19, 37, 64, but I cannot watch TV on 55. r/the10thDentist. Loki Olchi says. Winter is ugly. Everyone seems to have visions of evergreens and piles of under-shade snow reflecting soft holiday lights when they think of winter. Wrong. Unless you live in the mountains, winter is the ugliest season. Everything is brown and sad looking. Snow is pretty for the first hour, until it turns into a pile of grey slush in the corner of a parking lot. With that being said, For anywhere south of Iowa, snow is a lot rarer than people let on. I live in the Midwest and we honestly get maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow 2 to 3 times a year, if that. Last year we got a single dusting. As for holiday lights, those are only up until the very beginning of winter. After that it is considered tacky, not necessarily my opinion, but not an uncommon one where I'm from. Lastly, everyone talking about how cozy winter is are only admitting to the best part of the season is not being out in it. Flammerstag says, I kind of agree. It's the ugliest and most beautiful season. I think it's worth it though. There's nothing better than standing out in a heavy snowfall and hearing absolutely nothing. It's nearly bright as day as the light reflects off of the clouds and everything around is covered in a gleaming pristine sheet of white snow. If looking at some ugly slush after is my payment, sign me up. White Umbra says, I think a more 10th dentist post would be my opinion on winter. I absolutely love it. I enjoy shoveling it too. I find so much beauty even in the piles of brown and grey snow in parking lots. It's a more somber beauty, but beautiful nonetheless. I see a ton of beauty in every season, but there is no feeling like a snow-blanketed town. I actually take more walks in the fall and winter than I do in the spring/summer. Optiguy42 says, the highs are high. The lows are absolutely, frick, I'm miserable. I agree, downvoted unfortunately. Stenefrut Surprise says, this is going to come as a shock to you, but there are more than 2 places in the world. There are biomes other than the Midwest and the mountains. I've lived in places where winter is where things are at their most lush and green. It's summer when things are straw yellow and dehydrated brown. These places are not mountains. r/the10th dentist. Extra pension 1354 says, age restricted, drinking, buying a gun, gambling etc. Activities should be set to a higher age. Most people usually become more mature around their mid-20s, due to some parts of their brain not fully developing until they are around 25. Almost all the time I hear about a drunk driver accident or shooting, it's always from a person in their late teens or early adulthood. We should restrict it until age 25 or 26, so folks are mature enough to prevent more incidents. Divine Ruler says, brain isn't developed until 25 is a misunderstood, contextless statement that isn't remotely true. The study that this factoid comes from stopped the study when the participants were 25 because there were no signs of brain development even slowing down. Pushing up the age requirements of activities will not reduce accidents. Younger people have more accidents because they lack experience with whatever thing it is. Restricting them from doing the thing for a few more years won't make them magically more experienced with it. Super Saiyajin 4 says, due to some parts of their brain not fully developing until they are around 25. Christ on a stick, I'm I'm tired of this stupid myth already. Cartogram says, to be fair, Op was only using 10% of their brain. Madit1m says, these are fully grown adults making full grown adult choices. People are dumb and mature at any age. I think Americans waiting till 21 is stupid. Jasper Dark says, agreed, I've always found it strange. Especially because, from my understanding, most Americans drink before they turn 21 anyway. At least if they're doing it legally, there's a little more safety around how they're accessing it, and they don't need to be afraid to ask for help if something goes wrong. Plus, I don't know if it's just the circles I run in, but I just turned 21, and all my friends and I are sick of clubbing and drinking already. It feels good to be out of that phase, and I'm glad I did it early compared to Americans. r/the10th dentist. Thelordoffel34 says, weekdays are better than weekends. The weekdays are when all the clubs, events and everything else happens. There is never anything on weekends and people are always too busy or broke to do anything. There are far too many hours to occupy on a weekend, but the balance is perfect on a weekday. I work 8 hours, have an hour or 2 for other daily life stuff, and then have 8ish hours to do all my hobbies and stuff, which is a crazy amount of time, but I can normally fill it because I do an activity or club most days. But weekends you have to entertain yourself for literally 16 or more hours, and there are far too many hours to waste. I literally did everything on Sunday and there was still 6 hours to go, so all I did was sit around and do nothing, which is incredibly boring. Whereas today I'm working, took a break for a nice lunch, then I have an hour or 2 after work to relax, and then I'm at board games club. Then a few hours to relax and then sleep. So much better. Hikuskahifop says, damn, this really is a 10th dentist kind of opinion. Dante Spack says, I get what you're saying, but maybe you don't have enough hobbies? You could read a book, watch a movie, watch a TV show, play video games, knit, play an instrument, write, color, etc. Chris Eden says, bro what? Thiffinland 1 says, what no hobbies does to for. Seriously, get a hobby. Books, movies, shows, video games, knitting, cooking, whatever. Find something you thoroughly enjoy, and you'll spend your weekends doing that. The Flying Toaster says, this has got to be the most insane opinion I have ever read here. Maybe you don't really enjoy your hobbies, but if I have more time I can do more of the things I like, or even sleep more. Also, I find it impressive that you get 8 hours to do whatever you want every day, but maybe that is because I sadly still need 8 hours of sleep every day. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.